Perfect. So thank you so much for joining us, especially on a Sunday. I know Sunday is the lazy day, but just again asking the same question is if you guys are using Slack or if you guys are on Slack or have been using it for communication with client or maybe internally. So can you just give me a hands up or perfect. So we have three. Right. So Salesforce is one of the biggest reason of why you need to know what Slack exactly is, and with the introduction of Slack channels, or you can say Salesforce channels, Slack has been in the picture for quite a years. I think 2021, and there have been multiple integrations going on with Slack and Salesforce, and Salesforce channels is one of them. But here we will discuss specifically how you can automate things without writing a single line of code, all within Slack. So who am I? So I am Sanjeet and I currently works with Entity Data as a Salesforce and Slack developer. And I have also successfully completed the all the three certifications that Slack offers. And I am leading the Slack community for Patna for last 1 year, I would say. So that was all about me, and that's the QR. That's this QR will take you to the same page that I have pasted in the chat as well. So if you are not already a member of this Patna community, feel free to scan this QR or use the URL that I have shared in the chat. So that will take you to this page where you can just click on join and join the chapter to get notifications on the upcoming sessions. So we do have two sessions lined up right now. First is gonna be on 13th this month, which is in-person event along with the Salesforce user group for Patna, and the next will be on 17th August, where we will deep dive into Agent Force and how you can go ahead and learn Agent Force. And that's the Slack channel. So all you have to do is join the Slack community work and go into the workspace, search for members Patna, and it will take you to this public channel where we kind of keep updating everyone about the upcoming events or any new events happening in or near about Patna. So make sure you join the Slack community workspace, the Patna chapter, as well as this channel. So what's the agenda for today is we already have welcome and introduction. So we'll quickly look at what workflow builders are. We will have some demos as well, like how exactly you can go ahead and build your first Slack workflow or automate a repetitive task. Then some question answers and finally networking. And that's where we will discuss about swags. Perfect. So can we also have a raise of hands of how many of you are using Salesforce either as a customer or have been developing into Salesforce? Perfect. So we all know that Slack is your work operating system. That means Slack actually brings all the data that you need without and reduces the context switching. So let's say you want to integrate your calendar or you want to integrate GitHub, for example, if you are a developer, or if you want to integrate Salesforce. So it all can be done inside Slack. And after integrating any application with Slack, you do not have to actually go to those applications to perform any action. So what Slack offers is once you start using Slack, it enhances your productivity by 47%. And there have been a lot of messages, daily messages going in and out, which is around 700 million. And to total 3 million workflows are used in Slack daily. And that's where this session is focused on building workflows. Then what exactly are workflow builders? So, just for example, if you are working with any firm, there is daily stand-up calls, maybe at 10, maybe at 11. So that's something usually takes around 30 minutes to 1 hour just to give you updates and listen to updates what all other folks are working on, and what exactly they have been doing, or what's their plan to do today, right? So that's a place where this Slack automation can come into picture. Is you can use the Slack workflow builder to create a workflow, and you can skip the daily stand-up calls. We will build this same example when we jump to the section, but it connects all your tools. And if your Slack workspace is using AI, which is now also available as a demo feature. So if your organization is also using Slack AI, in that case you can use the AI feature to build workflows or to automate your task, just like you do it to summarize your conversation or summarize your thread. And if we have to compare it with what's there in Salesforce, so since many of us are also a Salesforce user, so we can relate Slack workflows with Salesforce flows. And how exactly it relates is both are used to automate tasks. The automations are a bit different. Like in Salesforce, it's the data that we kind of automate around, and in Slack, it's the daily work that we target. So in Salesforce, we have flow builder. In Slack, we have workflow builder, and that's the place where we go to build our workflows or build our flows. In Salesforce, we term it as flows. In Slack, we term it as workflow. The screen flow that we use in Salesforce to capture, let's say, user inputs. In Slack, we do not use screen flow. We call them as workflow forms or Slack forms. And the main part is when the flow should start, right? So that's the same concept that we use in Salesforce is when we want to start the workflow. So let's say for record trigger flow, then on the updation or creation of a record, the workflow for the flow fires. The same goes with Slack as well, that here also we have triggers which basically decides the starting point or when the workflow should trigger. So if we have to compare, similar to flows, we have Slack workflows. So as you can see in this video, it can start with a link. So the example that it of submitting an IT ticket, so it can starts with a link that is basically a shortcut, and it can have all the steps basically connecting information from user, publishing it in a channel, notifying anybody that this IT ticket has been raised. All those things can be done using Slack workflow and not a manual task. So it what Slack workflow does is it automates, simplify, and streamline team collaboration. And it's not only limited to what we can do inside Slack. So there are connectors just like GitHub, Salesforce. You have Google Sheet, Microsoft Excel, and everything that you can directly go and utilize their out of the box feature to, let's say, update a record or update a row in Google Sheet, get notified whenever a GitHub branch has been modified, or get notification when you get a new ticket in Jira or let's say Asana. So as soon as you get a new ticket, you will get notification in Slack. You can view the ticket, you can update the ticket directly within Slack. No need to log in into all the other applications, right? So without much delay, let's get into building the first workflow. So I'm gonna use this end. I'm going to use this building workflow channels to be the place where all our workflows will stay. And how exactly we go and start building our first workflow is we need to go to the place where we get this option of building a workflow. So all you have to do it, you can either use this more and go to automations, or you can use the slash command. So slash uh, open, and there you will have open workflow builder. So once I'll click on this, it will give me all the workflows that I currently have. So you can see I currently have two workflows that are running in my in this Slack workspaces: Salesforce lead alert, Salesforce lead generation. But the demo is around building a workflow. So we will click on this new workflow, and there you have option to create it via template, or you can build everything from scratch. So let's say we want to build everything from scratch. In this case, it will take us to a new window. And there you can sorry, let me share my entire screen for that sake. Perfect. So here you can see the name of the workflow, untitled workflow, its description, image, and everything. And there we have this AI option. So what this AI option can do is similar to Chat GPT or Agentforce. You can tell Slack of what exactly you are trying to build. So let's make the a workflow using AI. Uh, Create a workflow that runs at 10 a.m. every day, asking for sorry, asking for daily updates on the work everyone is doing, and send it out as a message in the channel. And that's it. That's a very simple language that I have used. You can make the language as complex as you want and include as many distinct features as you want, just like notify me on this channel or create the message using a lot of emojis and everything, right? So at the bottom, you can see we got a basic structure of the workflow that this AI can build, right? If I'll go and modify it by including make the message tone casual and use a lot of emojis. If I'll go and update my prompt, the same will reflect in the workflow that it will create for me, right? So instead of using this, and you can also have all these already created templates. So let's say if I'll click on set a reminder, so it gives me a prompt, remind my team to post their huddle meetings every Monday. If I'll go on and submit this prompt for the AI to create a workflow, in this case, it created me a workflow with all the steps, right? But let's not get into the AI building part, and let's see how exactly we build a workflow from scratch without using AI, because AI is an paid feature which gets as an add-on on top of what your plan you are using. So most probably if you are on a free plan, there are possibilities that you will not have Slack AI. So let's start uh, building our workflow. And the first thing that we need to decide here is what's the starting point of the workflow. That means when this workflow should trigger. So here you can see all these Slack triggering points, and on the left you can see that you can also trigger the workflow uh, from any other applications as well. Let's say for example GitHub, whenever you merge a PR in your repository, you can get notifications for it. So that's one example. And the same goes for Asana. Whenever a task has been assigned to you, you can get notification without integrating Asana actually and using the Slack workflow. But in this case, let's start building it on a schedule. So it will start from tomorrow. Time will be, let's say, 10. That's the time zone. I can change the time zone. And this time zone reflects every user's personalized time zone as well. What's going to be the frequency? In this case, let's say Monday to Friday. Click on continue. So we now know where our workflow should start. So it will start from tomorrow at 10 a.m. and it repeats every weekday. That means from Monday to Friday. But what this workflow will do, so that will be decided from the steps that we are gonna add. So in this case, let's click on add steps, and again you have a lot of examples. These are the quick suggestions. Feel free to use them as well, or you can scroll down and you will see all these integrations out of the box. So you can directly go and utilize anyone. So let's say, for example, Salesforce. So using Salesforce, we can create a record, delete a record. We can also run a flow or update a record. So all these are the standard connectors that you can directly go and utilize. But let's say, for example, we are not going to utilize this. We are going to send a message to a channel, and this channel is gonna be building workflows. So let's say building workflow is the channel where all your team is collaborating. And what's the message I wanna type? Let's keep it simple. It's time for daily updates. Click on continue, right? So once this message is done, I can also insert the variable about who all about, just like in flows we create variables, same way in Slack we can also insert the variables. And let's click on continue. So now we need a continue button. So we will click on this add button and let's name this continue. What it will do, it can either open a link, it can continue the workflow. You can make it as a single click or multi click, and you can also set the expiry date of this button. So let's say I just want to make it expire in 2 days from the time when the workflow started, right? Or I can, let's skip button expiration. So that's the first message that we are gonna set. Then what exactly happens after a user clicks on continue is we need to ask some questions that we typically ask in any stand-up calls. So let's select forms in this case, collect info in a form. Uh, Daily updates gonna be the title of this form, and I can go and add questions. What have you worked on yesterday? And we can also set the data type of this question. So it can be file upload, it can be rich text or a short answer as well. For this, let's say paragraph. Make You can also give it a hint. Make this required or not required. Done. Then what are you going to work on today? That can be the second question that we usually answer in any DSU calls. So make this as a paragraph and required as well. And finally, the last question is any blockers. And again, making this as required. So now we have a form created where user can give inputs to what they have been working on yesterday, what they will do today, and if there are any blockers. And what's next? So let's say a user reports to a manager, so I can decide to send this out as a message to the manager informing him about the update that the user has given, or we can also send the message in thread. So let's use the same message that we had initially sent out at 10 a.m. In this case, let's say thank you, and we can at the rate mention the people or the person who has submitted the form. So thank you for your updates, and I can also go and include the updates that he has given on. So yesterday's work, let's say today's work, and any blockers. And similar to Salesforce flows, we can go on and add the answer to what you have worked on yesterday, what you are going to work on today, and if there are any blockers, right? And click on save, and that's it. So that's a simple workflow that we created in 10 minutes that will reduce the time of maybe 30 minutes or 1 hour depending on what type of DSUs you are conducting. But this workflow will basically reduce a call in your daily life. Let's finish up the workflow. Daily status updates. I'll just use the same as description. You can make the description different as well. And then comes who can find the workflow. And let's say if there are multiple teams working in your Slack workspace or Slack organization, you can specify who all can actually go and use the workflow. So in this case, since I'll be using this in only one channel, so I can go ahead and add this channel that it can only be used inside this channel and nowhere else, right? So that is one option that will ensure the security of this workflow. And then show all permissions. You can decide who all can go ahead and edit this workflow in case if a requirement comes in future. So let's publish this flow for now. And the second option is we can directly add this workflow in the top bar of any channel. Since we were building this in building workflows Slack channel, let's add this to the channel, and that's it. We are done with this. So now, or I can do one more thing is instead of making it run tomorrow at 10 a.m., I can do it right now. Just let me modify the timing of this. So let's say this workflow will run today at uh, 2027, right? So in 1 minute, this workflow will run and I'll get a notification on it. So let's wait for a minute. By the time we will get this message, and if there are any questions, mess something up. Let's recheck of what we have missed. So as you can see, it's 8:28, but we didn't got the message. So maybe starts today, 27, repeat every weekday. Since today is not a weekday, let's make this daily, and let's make the time as 29. So now it will start today at 8:29 and it repeats daily. I had this option scheduled for every weekday and today was Sunday, so that's why the workflow didn't run. So let's keep this aside and let's start building another workflow pretty quick. So open workflow builder. Again, the same steps of building workflows. Choose an event. Let's say it's a shortcut. Okay, let's move back to this first. So since the time is 8:29, we got this workflow update that it's time for daily update. I can click on continue. What have you worked on yesterday? I was on PTO. What are you going to work on today? I will be on PTO. Any blockers? Nope. Once I submit this, what it will do is it will reply in the same thread, letting me know that my updates are covered and these are the updates. I can also go and tag, let's say, my manager or someone else in this message as well. But that's exactly how it's gonna reduce the 30 minutes or 1 hour call to maybe 5 minutes of running the workflow. So that's one pretty straightforward example of it. And the next workflow that we are gonna build is, let's say, it starts from a link, and the first step that we are gonna do is uh, let's create a Salesforce account. Create account, or maybe I can show you one of the examples that I have already built. Salesforce lead generation, right? Okay, my external account has been disconnected. So it also starts from a link in Slack. That means I can go ahead and directly run this workflow, or I can paste it at any channel or send it out as a scheduled message as well. So what it will do is it will create a record where all these information needs to be populated from the user. So it creates a lead with salutation, first name, last name, mobile number, and everything. And these are the fields that are coming from Salesforce, and we are not actually deciding the field type and everything. So just like you will see, salutation is a drop down, and it will have all the options that we have configured in Salesforce. So let's say if you have added a new pick list value in Salesforce for any of the custom field, in that case the same will reflect in Slack as well, and we do not have to create every pick list values or make the data type of the field same as what we have in Salesforce. Since mobile number is a short answer, we do not Slack doesn't support numeric fields right now, so it can be short answer. The status is a drop down, the description is a short answer, and everything. So description is optional, rest of the fields are mandatory, that is required. So that's the first step where we are using the standard Salesforce connector. The next step is we are sending a message to a channel that a new lead has been created with the name, mobile number, and all the fields that we have used in the previous step. So this is again a simple workflow utilizing the Salesforce inbuilt connectors. But Salesforce also we can use Google Sheet and everything. So let's say you want to capture this daily update. Let's take this example and edit the workflow. So these are some of the features of the Slack workflow. Not it. It's up to you how deep you want to go into this topic. So let's say Google Sheet. I can go ahead and add a spreadsheet. All I have to do is connect my account. So let's say I have connected my account. So my account is connected. I'll move back to Slack. I will get a list of uh, sheets that I have in my system. So let's say create a spreadsheet from daily updates. I can click on next. It will auto populate the values here. Timestamp submitted by any blockers, what I have worked on yesterday, what I will work on today. Click on save. Uh, I'll just modify the time to run it again, maybe at 34. Publish my changes. So let's wait for a minute. We'll get a new message from the same daily status update workflow. Um, yeah, we got it. Right. So if I'll click on continue, let's say, let's keep it. I was on PTO. I will be on PTO and no. So now two things will happen is first, the same step that we had earlier is this thread message. And the next step that we'll have is, so here you can see daily updates. And the same, I was on PTO, I will be on PTO, no, Sanjeev Mishra. And the timestamp when this workflow was submitted is now here. And let's say in case if you want it to be formatted in a particular way, so that also can be defined here. Let's say for timestamp, we want to do it in local time and not exactly UTC compact. So I can go ahead and select the format of it. And instead of using the full name, let's say I want to use the user ID for this user or the email address for this user to capture it here. So we all can describe everything in this drop down. So that's one example of Google Sheet. And if we go ahead and use any other example, let's say Canvas, or we can go ahead and create a channel, maybe reply to a message, send a thread message, add reaction to a message, create a user group, or any other standard connectors, whether you are using Salesforce, GitHub, ServiceNow, or anything else.